It's the Fellowship of the Geek Show, a weekly podcast about comics, the comic book industry, and other geek pop culture. Music courtesy of Manny the Martyr. And now, on with the show!
Hey there, everybody. It's the Fellowship of the Geeks podcast. My name is Thomas Chick, and joining me for this episode is Mike Marlowe.
Hey, gang.
Les Webster.
Hello.
And Liz Newman.
Hello, everybody.
How are you guys doing?
Doing all right, thanks.
Delightful.
Yeah.
Dilapidated. Embalmed.
I'm that little cat on a branch. I'm hanging in there.
Hope everybody out there is doing okay. So what's been going on in your corner of the galaxy?
Dang, I wish I had, something exciting after leaving everybody hanging last week.
Apparently, we're still hanging. But, hey, no, I'm kidding.
Exciting and
I haven't really done a lot.
come aboard. We're expecting you.
Love boat.
Oh, thank you, Captain
Thank you.
Steubing.
Oh, man.
That must have been Rocky.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Totally.
Sure.
To be quite honest, I'm surprised he hadn't come in here with me singing. So, anyway.
Yeah, I'm
Go ahead,
surprised you didn't
Liz.
set off Taco, too.
Taco can hear us?
He's right here. I'm surprised if he can't. He's actually right here by my head up on the pillow, so.
You are laying in bed while you're talking to us.
Yeah, I'm sitting on it.
TMI.
I can't say that the baby did it, but I came in here, I guess, a couple of weeks ago now, and my chair was broke. And it's like, okay, maybe I can rig this. No, I can't rig it. I'm going to have to get a new chair.
I'm amused that you thought you could rig it in the first place.
Right. Well, I even asked Phil, and he's kind of like, I don't know. I think it might be time to look for a new chair.
It's not made of wood. He's kind of out his element, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
well,
not really.
The insides are wood, right? You wrap
don't know, are
cotton
they?
around it, slap leather over it, it's a chair.
Oh, see, I was picturing like an office chair on wheels in my head. But...
Well, I had a recliner in here because the baby, when she stays the night. So this was actually her chair, because that's her bed when she stays the night.
That's why you're blaming her. All right, that makes sense now.
Well, I think what happened was she was standing with the corner that's broke. I think she was standing on the corner of the chair and jumped to the bed, which is cool. She does it all the time, but I think this one time it just went ka-clank.
Crunch.
Oops.
One too many jumps, and that's it. And I'm so damn picky when it comes to where I set my ass.
Which is a good idea, yeah.
Right.
You should be somewhat selective anyway, yes.
Yeah. Well, some of my side work is done on the computer. I'm usually playing games or something on my computer, so it's got to be something
taking
that's
it
not going to
apart.
kill me. Yeah. So, but yeah. So I have to sit on the bed right now until my chair gets fixed.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But yeah, as far as anything I've done this week, I had on Wednesday this week I did a Mighty Mouse marathon,
Ooh.
which I haven't
Haven't seen
watched
any
Mighty
of those in a
Mouse.
while. Yeah.
Right?
Did you watch Andy
YouTube.
Kaufman or what?
They've got like 3-hour chunks of 80s cartoons. So I found that and I turned that on, and I finally, after actually a year, I watched a little bit of Supernatural, and yeah.
And you're still
And then I
crying.
fell. Yep. Yep. Yeah, it's been a weird week. And then I fell into a true crime thing. Here's something interesting. You guys may have already known this, but I didn't know this, and I kind of fell down a rabbit hole. Do you guys remember The Land Before Time? And there was, I think her name, was it Sarah? No, it was Ducky. And her catchphrase in it was, yep, yep, yep. Yeah, it was yep, yep, yep. And then she also was the little girl in All Dogs Go to Heaven. Well, I found out, she's a 10-year-old girl. Both these movies were coming out at the same time, and her father actually murdered her before. I think Land Before Time had already been filmed, or all of her speaking parts had been done, and All Dogs Go to Heaven at the very, I think they were all done with her parts, but not everybody had done their speaking parts yet. So in one scene of it, in All Dogs Go to Heaven, Charlie comes to this little girl and he tells her, that he's leaving. She's like half asleep. And, that he's leaving, and actually he's going to heaven at the time. And he's saying goodbye to this little girl. Well, I found out that when that was filmed, Burt Reynolds had just found out that that little girl had been murdered that way. And so when he was saying goodbye to, in the film, he was actually saying his goodbye to this little girl that he had worked with, So it was kind of like, wow, that.
Yeah, way to make it creepy. Jeez.
Right. It was. If you see the part, I think that's what sent me on the rabbit hole. There's like a meme going around right now of just that clip of him saying goodbye. And it was like, yeah, her father murdered her. And it's like, wait, what? Not that that's funny, but it's like, damn, I thought I would know something like that. So, yeah, he was crazy. I think he killed the mom. He was afraid that the little girl was going to make it big, and the mom was going to leave him and, pursue the acting career with the daughter. So instead, he killed both of them and then himself. And then, of course, that when you look up things like this, it always leads you back to Reddit.
Yeah, go figure.
Yeah, there's always some kind of thread. So, on one of the threads, some people were upset because they were like, damn, I didn't know that. They shouldn't have released that movie. And it was like, well,
what does releasing the movie have to do with anything?
Well, because they said it was disrespectful because she had died before it was done. And it was like, but I feel that if they wouldn't release the movie, her dad would have won. And that was kind of her last. On this little girl's tombstone are the words, yep, yep, yep. She loved both of these roles. She took them very serious,
Right.
Especially the filming to accommodate these two movies at the same time, So I think it would have been a big disservice to her not to release these movies,
Right. In a way, you're releasing them as a tribute to her.
Yeah. Something she loved and you're sharing with everyone, And the deal with Burt Reynolds, what a special, intimate moment that he let us in on, So, yeah, like I said, it was kind of one of those, I didn't expect it to, because at first it was like, oh, it's Charlie. And then you listen to what it says and you read the caption and you're like, fuck. That hits a little differently. So, yeah. which of course went on to all different kinds of, this one's, look at all these stars who are locked up now. So, but that's pretty much all I did, psychotic weekend. Woohoo!
You said weird weekend, and I was like, how could it possibly be weird? Okay, you proved me wrong on that one.
Yeah, it was pretty weird.
Be careful what you ask for.
Yeah.
I ought to know better by now.
Yeah.
To perk things up, I finished it off by watching the movie we're talking about tonight. That didn't perk too much.
I mean, we'll get there and all, but... Yeah.
Follow that, Mike.
Yeah. Silly me, I watched a comedy. I actually weirdly did. It's listed as a horror comedy, but it's honestly way more comedy than horror. The movie I watched,
Saturday the 14th.
it's on my list, but I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, okay.
This is called Things Happen at Night. It was released in 1948, and it is a British film which is about essentially a poltergeist haunting. But it's definitely the humorous side of the poltergeist haunting. It is not a mean-spirited poltergeist in any way, although it is kind of driving people nuts. And it being British humor in the 40s, it actually has a tendency to get a little silly at times. It is definitely over-the-top comedy, which is based on like I said, a poltergeist haunting in a house, and it's actually pretty entertaining. It's not an action movie in any way. It's if you've watched any British stuff from that time period, but basically, if you've watched any British comedy pre-Monty Python, it's very much a silly people thing. There's the characters. There's a handful of main characters, like 4 or 5 main characters, and they're all and there's some side characters, and they're all very over the top, just sort of outrageous weirdness in a very, of course, prim and proper British way.
Okay.
So it's weird to describe. Watching it I think makes more sense than me describing it, because to go into story hooks in this thing wouldn't make much sense if I did. I mean, you've got like the butler and the housekeeper, and they have both of them have their things going on, and there's the guy who owns the house, and he's got a wife and 2 daughters, and he's got a potential business partner coming over for the weekend and stuff like that, and that guy's also weird. His daughter, the homeowner's daughter, is marrying the business partner's son, and that's a little bit of a thing, but not much. They're actually bit characters in it, and they all basically, or at least the homeowner guy and the business partner and the paranormal expert that randomly shows up, and another guy who also randomly shows up but gets sort of comedy of errors into the story. Those 4 end up staying up all night, the final night, to essentially catch the poltergeist. And hilarity ensues, of course. There's a significant amount of alcohol on screen. There's a pretty silly running gag with a piece of twine. And some pretty funny stuff with a camera.
So there are spirits in spirits. Okay.
There are, absolutely. and all of the hilarity you would expect from both of those at the same time.
Cool.
But yeah, it's a fun little story. I mean, like I said, it's a horror comedy because it's about a ghost. That's really it. That is the only horror in it. There's not really. I mean, they do some fun stuff with wires, obviously, because it's a poltergeist thing. It works. It's a reasonably good movie.
Was there only one ghost?
Yes, there's only one ghost.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not like it turns out. It's not like a Looney Tunes cartoon where it turns out there's like 35 turtles screwing with Bugs Bunny. It's not one of those stories.
I was just wondering if it was Larry, Daryl, and Daryl, or if it's something like that. Did they find out that it was the evil farmer that under the mask, or what?
Strangely, in 1948, there were no Scooby-Doo references, no.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't have been surprised. I mean, if it had been sort of a predecessor to Scooby-Doo, but yeah, no. There is a transference of the haunting, but I'll leave that to the point where I recommend people watching the movie, you know.
And the movie was what again?
It's called Things Happen at Night.
Things Happen at Night. Where's it available?
It is on Tubi.
Tubi. Okay.
Tubi. I'm not Tubi.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, it's a fun little deal.
Cool.
Okay. Anything else?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Les.
Well, I've got a boatload here. One, I finished the first collection, the showcase collection of Challengers of the Unknown, which is a nice publication. I wish they would have made more of those. But since it's printed black and white and the paper's not the best paper in the world, it's well worth the time. Second, I watched a couple of movies, 3 movies in fact, 2 good, 1 bad. One of the first ones was a movie called Knox Goes Away, Knox. This is Michael Keaton, who also directed it. And it has several good stars in it. I recommend this one. It's interesting take of what could be going on right now. It's about a hitman. So it's well worth the time. That is on Max. The second one I watched was, let me see here, 3 Days to Kill. This was interesting. It's considered a dark comedy. It too is about a hitman. And it stars Kevin Costner, Haley Stanfield, Connie Nielsen, Amber Heard, among others. It's good. It's a good action movie. I do recommend that one too. And it is also on Max. So, yeah, just take the time. That was done in 2014. The first one was done in 2024. Those are the 2 I liked. The one, my wife even walked in while I was watching and asked me what the hell I was watching and was it for tonight's discussion. And I said no. But when I was looking for tonight's discussion movie, I came across I believe this was on Roku. A fascinating little gem that had a star cast. I couldn't believe some of the names they had. Your main two were Vincent Price and John Carradine. Other players were Anthony Steele, Simon Ward, Donald Pleasance, Britt Eklund, Stuart Whitman, and Patrick McGee. The name of this one is The Monster Club. It was done in 1980. It is a collection of 3 stories. And yes, there is a club that Vincent Price takes John Carradine to be part of. It is a nightclub, and it has some truly bad music to it. Bands were were playing, and some of the bands were pretty hideous, but the music sounded pretty good. It was also in the section between the sections was music, and that was by John Carpenter. But this was kind of it was not a really good funny movie, but they kind of touted it that way. So you just I just kind of looked at it and shrugged. When the wife asked me, I just said, no, it's just something I wanted to watch. She just rolled her eyes and walked away, which I expected anyway.
So
this one was fun to a point. To see all these names up there on the screen was pretty funny. And I was surprised at some of the parts, like if you just watched it and didn't know who played what. Patrick McGee was probably the one that stood out the most in his role. So if you get a chance, yeah, go ahead, have a seat, watch this one. And I think you'll enjoy it. It's that frickin' stupid. But it is interesting how they intermingle these stories and the background for monsters. Because you have vampires, werewolves, and ghouls.
Oh my.
And they start, Price says, well, okay, if a ghoul marries a vampire, they become a goopire or something like that. And if vampires breed with werewolves, you get a werepire and things like this. It's weird because they come down to one of them. The last character was a hoomgoo, which is a ghoul mating with a human. So don't just take my opinion. Sit down, watch his drivel, and see what you think.
Drivel. You're really selling it. I've seen this movie. And it is... Did we watch it for the show, or did I just watch it and talk about it? I can't remember now.
You may have.
I think we may have when we did Vincent Price. Yeah.
It has been a few years for sure.
Yeah.
This was... Honestly, my deal was that, I mean, it's an anthology, and the anthology bits were actually not bad. the cutscene stuff with Vincent Price and John Carradine was utterly awful.
Yeah.
Utterly awful. It's just so dumb. Didn't make any sense at all, and they were trying to be funny, and the stories were not. They were actually like legit horror. I mean it was like old school, like monkey's paw sort of stuff, but yeah, I mean, you're a bolder man than I am to recommend watching this.
Well, I will say I will recommend it for the very ending of the movie when the band is up there playing about monsters, and to see John Carradine trying to dance was hysterical.
Right, in 1980, when he's like 80 years old or something.
Yeah.
800.
80. If I remember correctly, Vincent Price was the vampire and Carradine was a human writer.
Yes.
And they stumbled across each other in a dark alley at night and started talking instead of Price eating Carradine. And so Price just brings him to this place. He's like, hey, you're a writer? Yeah, let me show you some shit.
Yeah. Let me give you ideas for upcoming books.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he did bite Carradine for a short while. He didn't bite him long enough to turn him into a vampire.
Yeah.
But it was... Now, do you remember the music for this thing?
I remember it being pretty awful. I don't remember.
Thank you. That's all I needed right there.
It was terrible. Which, it's 1980. This is not surprising.
Yeah.
But like I said, I think that whole part was written for chuckles, and they should have kept trying, because it wasn't particularly chuckly.
No. But that was it for me.
It concerns me a little bit that the first two things you talk about watching after our little disagreement last week is Hitman movies, but anyway.
So should we be hiding?
Apparently I need to watch my ass, because dang.
We liked the Sith. We liked it.
You talk about Max. Did you hear the announcement that just came down like the last day or so? If you are signed up for DoorDash's Door Pass, where you get the free deliveries and all that, you get Max. You get Max for free. Now it's the version with ads, but you get Max free.
You get that for a night, or
no? You have
like
it.
a month.
The
Yeah.
the DoorDash thing is like a subscription service.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So one serves the other.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, last time I ordered from Grubhub, I think they offered me like Paramount or something for free. And it was like, no, I already pay for that, thank you. But I thought that was kind of weird too, you know. And I guess you heard what Warner Brothers has done, right? They have killed Boomerang.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell are y'all doing? You know? And a lot of it they have moved over to Max, but all the other stuff is just gone. I mean, Johnny Bravo's gone. I think there was a few others.
They've killed the Cartoon Network website.
Yeah. And that's what I meant too. You know, they've killed Boomerang and now Cartoon Network. It's all gone. Well, like I said, they have put some of it. I'll probably say about 70% of it is over on Max now. They had started moving a lot of their Adult Swim stuff over, And then they decided to kill the channel, so they've been pulling more of the other non-adult stuff over. It's like, man, I hate to see that. I remember when that first came out, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're just trying to consolidate stuff.
Yeah. And another thing I had noticed, there was an ad on Twitter, I think it was, where it was showing Disney and their new bundling. And I noticed Discovery's no longer bundled. Is Discovery moving away from them, or?
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was kind of weird. That was, you know.
Well, I thought Discovery was part of Warner Brothers.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking then.
Yeah,
So,
we
yeah.
get Discovery through Amazon, so I don't know.
Yeah.
There is a channel I follow on YouTube. It's called Cord Cutters, and he posts a video every weekday morning about some of the news items that's going on, whether it's streaming services or cable, that kind of stuff. I came across it by accident, but it's been kind of interesting to kind of watch. And he's been saying for a long time, and it's something that we've talked about in the past. It's like a lot of these streaming services, especially the smaller ones, that there are just too many of them. They're going to have to start going away.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and before it was cheaper. And now it's not too cheap anymore because they keep raising their prices. And it's like, you know, people are going to start going back to cable because you can't keep raising prices that way. You know, they can, but it's not very often.
Counterproductive.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, but how much longer is cable going to be around?
Well, if they keep raising their prices, it may send people back. And now their big thing's bundling. And it was like, oh, I wish there was a main one person that bundled packages and gave them to you for a discount price. Oh, yeah, we had that. It was called cable. You know? So it's kind of, I don't know. I think if cable wants to stay relevant, they need to offer a no ads tier plan. You know? If they did that, I would be sold. I mean, that's the whole reason we go to streaming. But now streaming's like, oh, well, you can pay us $20 a month with ads, or for $40 a month, we'll take the ads off for you. Well, what the hell, you know? When I was with cable, your channel was only $5. Yeah, I think we're about to see a big shift happen again. I think everybody got tired of cable. They shifted over to streaming, and now streaming's kind of gotten greedy, and we'll see where that shift goes. Should be interesting.
Well, I mean, if they shift back to cable, cable's going to have to do something because there's no new content on cable.
Yeah.
They're going to the streaming services.
Yep.
So, I mean, why pay for cable when I'm to watch stuff that's already repeats? I mean, I could do that with the streaming services and get new content.
Yep.
So we'll see. And I'll send a link to where we can you can check that out in the show notes for that channel. It's really good. This guy's been doing it for, I don't know for how long, but it's always kind of interesting to hear some of the stuff that's going on. So that's where I actually heard about the whole thing about the free Max with ads if you have the door pass. So I heard from him. So that's pretty cool. So I do the door pass. So I'm probably just go ahead and sign up, and I don't care about the ads. I don't care about ads too much. So. And I don't have Mac, so that may be a way to check it out.
Yeah.
For me, not a whole heck lot. I know one of the rabbit holes I kind of fell in. I had watched the video. I've talked about it in the past. I've watched a lot of the reaction videos on there, and then one of them happened to be watching George Carlin. So I'm like, okay, I hadn't seen any Carlin stuff in forever. Let's do this. So I do that, and I start kind of going down the rabbit hole of his bit about religion's bullshit. And the thing is most of the ones that most of the reaction videos I was watching were religious people watching and responding.
Oh,
So
boy.
like, well, yeah, you would think that these people would get upset. But the thing is they were laughing. And they go, you know what? He's right. I was like, okay, that's pretty open-minded of you.
I'm shocked.
Yeah. But God, watching that and then turn around watching the whole thing of the Ten Commandments and him basically dwindling it down to only 2 commandments and all that, I was like, God, I wish he was here. I really wish he was here. Then I start thinking about it, I was like, shit, some of the stuff he would be saying now, he was saying back then. So, I mean, the sad thing is it hadn't changed.
Right.
And not just a religion, just everything. Everything that's going on in the world. I mean, it was stuff that he was talking about back then. It just hasn't changed.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
All right. Before we get into this week's discussion, let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. We are continuing Movie Month. Today's discussion is another film that came out in '99. So, hey, summer '99 was kind of pretty cool, you know?
Kind of was, yeah.
So today we are discussing Stephen Sommers' The Mummy, starring Brendan Fraser. Not so much a horror film. I mean, there were some horror elements, but it was definitely more of an action-adventure film, which I thought was kind of cool. So let's talk a little The Mummy.
I remember this one being funnier than it was. I guess I had my movies wrong because I don't know. I guess too when you hear the name Brendan Fraser, you're like, oh yeah, this is going to be funny.
Oh yeah, no, this was his action star phase.
Yeah. Say, spoiler alert, he's not funny in this. I mean, he
He's
is.
not. There's some funny shit
times,
going
but-
around, right?
Yeah.
Around him, but he's not the comic relief for sure.
Right.
No.
I mean, Rachel Weisz has a lot more funny lines than he does. He's got a few.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a few.
A few. Yep. I didn't think this one was bad though. Haven't we watched the original for a show before?
The Karloff version?
Was it the Karloff version? Yeah.
I don't know. I've seen it. I don't know if we watched it for the show.
I thought we did it for like
Wait.
Halloween one year or something, but
You probably did.
yeah. I definitely enjoyed the older version. I will say that totally 2 different movies. It's on the same theme, and I guess they have the same name, but they're not remotely the same.
They're not.
The newer one with this one, I say newer, it's 25 years old now.
It is. Exactly. 25 years old.
They do give you a little bit more history of the couple, of what happened here and, what was going on. I thought that was kind of cool. I also thought it was really cool that each person that he killed, he was becoming more human looking. That was pretty cool. anytime they made a face in the sand or like faces pop out of the tar, that kind of stuff, I loved that. That was pretty cool too.
It's an interesting set of things you like from this movie. But, okay.
Well, the sandstorm when his face pops out. Do you
Mhm.
guys remember in the 80s they had those like metal pin things and you could stick your face or your hand in it and it would like do the imprint? That's what that reminded
Yeah,
me.
this was the CGI version of that. Yeah, the
So,
multi-million-dollar CGI movie version
yeah,
of the pin thing. Yeah.
and the effects weren't that bad. Some of them were pretty cool.
Uh-huh.
I didn't like the little Weasley dude.
Which one?
You weren't supposed to like the little Weasley
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
Right, the Weasley dude who was the bad guy or the Weasley dude who was the good guy? You're going to have to be more specific.
Well, the
Right.
bad Weasley guy that became like his little
Benny.
minion. Yeah.
Benny?
Benny. Yeah. Benny looks like my ex, so it was like,
So you were biased
Get
against
off!
right from the bat. Okay, got it. Fair enough.
He was
Castrate
already
him before
past
you kill him.
judgment.
Mm-hmm.
Liz, past judgment? No.
No. Doesn't happen.
Yeah, all in all, I liked it. I would watch it again. I definitely got the second one queued up to watch. So
The Mummy Returns?
the Mummy Returns. Yep.
Yeah, the Mummy Returns is good, but not as good as the first.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would
Well, I'm
go.
taking it's about different people,
No.
or
That's-
still Brendan Fraser and the girl, but like a different mummy.
No, it's the same mummy.
Not that I recall.
it?
I think it's the same dude.
It's the same mummy. We just add the Scorpion King,
Yeah.
Dwayne Johnson.
Okay. And every time they said I'm a Hotep, I kept thinking of Bubba Hotep.
Yeah, well, Bubba Hotep
There's
was
that.
a little bit ripped off of this, so yeah. Well, the original, not this movie specifically. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
Uh-huh. That's the one we need to do a show on.
Bet we could arrange something. I haven't seen that in a while either.
Yeah.
it's been forever for me.
I would say we need a Bruce Campbell month, but I don't know if we can handle that level of Bruce Campbell overload.
Groovy.
It's a lot to ask.
That is.
Then again, if you do it right, you do it in different styles.
Mm-hmm.
Could be fun. Anyway, The Mummy. We're already getting off track with
Yeah.
The Mummy, which is entirely my fault for a change. Oh,
Oh,
TCB.
oh.
Anyway, this is a fun movie. The Mummy is a fun movie.
Mm.
Yep.
Very enjoyable. Definitely not horror, at least until the scarab beetles start running around in mass. But that
I
part
don't
always
know.
gets me out.
They freaking are shoving things up people's noses and stuff in the first 5 minutes of this. So I think they set the horror path pretty cool.
Even if it's mostly body horror involving insects. But anyway, ew, I'm
Burying
gonna creep
people
myself
alive
out just
and-
talking about it.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's not a happy-go-lucky movie. This is not a
No.
rom-com.
No.
Although it actually oddly has its rom-com moments,
Yeah, true.
but
Yeah.
not very many. So not enough to scare off people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a fun, like you said, action adventure.
But in the first 5 minutes, it's not a comedy.
Right? Yeah, no, it's definitely not a comedy. I mean, they go out of the way to make it entertaining and get a few
They
laughs,
did.
but
Yeah.
this is balls to the wall adventure most of the time, with a few lulls. But I
Now,
think
I'm curious, was this based on actual lore or just fiction?
this
Was there an
version
Imhotep?
or no, it's pretty. I mean, there are some. I mean, obviously, it was playing off of the Egyptology boom. That by the time the Karloff version came out, had been going on for like 30 years or something. I think it's basically fiction based off of that. I don't recall. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there's much basis in fact on this one or legend or anything like that.
I don't know.
I mean, other than the stuff that got mistranslated, I believe, dealing with the Tutankhamun tomb and that whole curse thing. I think most of that was just over dramatized anyway. And so it's based on some of that, but how much that really has to do with actual legend or anything is debatable.
Yeah.
That is my understanding anyway. But yeah, this is a fun movie. I enjoyed the hell out of this when it came out.
Mm-hmm. I
don't
did.
know if I seen it when it came out. I think this is one of those ones I had to decide I liked later.
I used to go to movies. I don't anymore,
No.
but I used to. And so, I mean,
Well,
obviously, I went to see a lot of movies in 1999.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
See, I liked Brendan Fraser in his stupid funny, like with Pauly Shore and stuff.
Oh God.
so before
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
yeah, this was kind of his first grown-up movie.
Yeah. So it was a little different. So I think that's why I kind of waited to watch it.
I've never seen a Pauly Shore movie.
What?
You lucky dog.
I like Pauly Shore. Buddy.
I have no problem with Pauly Shore in very small doses. I
Yeah.
could not sit and watch like an hour and a half of Pauly Shore. That would drive me to drink. I couldn't do it. Pauly Shore is
At the
funny
very
in a 5-minute sketch. He is not funny for 90 minutes of anything.
Well, that's when you had the other people like Brendan Fraser and them to kind of flesh it out a little, you know.
And significant chemical influence.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine.
Just a little.
I
Yeah.
cannot imagine watching a Pauly Shore movie sober
Yeah.
or not wasted in some way.
Yeah, I enjoyed the heck out of this film. You know, it's hard not to watch it and kind of compare it to the indie films, Indiana Jones films.
Yeah.
Which, of course, we've already talked about those, and I was a big fan of those. Yeah, I really can't think of anything that I just didn't care for. I mean, yeah, the whole thing with the scarabs is a little icky, but
That's just because me and bugs, you know.
Yeah.
well, yeah,
Not everybody has my hang-ups.
but yeah, I mean, it was a fun film.
Yep.
Yep. With a bunch of people that went on to do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some of the actors in here we'd never heard of before this, but they went on to have careers and shit. You know?
Yeah. I just wish we had a couple more Rick O'Connell films. I mean, yeah, we had The Mummy 2, and then we had the third one, which I have not seen because there's just
The third one was not so good.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
A third Mummy film?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
I forget what. Tomb of the Dragon Emperor.
Yeah.
Huh.
Where the kid's also an adult, but Brendan Fraser's.
Still only a few years older than he was. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, no. No.
Yeah. They should have aged him a bit. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I can accept some things, but no, that I can't. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and it just did. Yeah, it just wasn't as. It wasn't as interesting.
Yeah.
As I recall, I only watched it once. When it came out, but yeah, I remember it not being the same experience at all. It was not as exciting. It was.
Yeah.
There was lots of stuff missing that made even the second one a decent movie. I mean, it was missing. The second one was missing stuff from the first. And
Right.
managed to be okay. But
with the second one, I'm surprised Les hasn't jumped in here and yeah. The thing with the second one, the whole thing with the kid, that kind of got a little annoying.
well,
But he was the driving force in that movie.
yeah,
Well,
and they had to find a hook to bring Rick and Evie back into it.
yeah, I understand.
There was no way they were going to do that again, because that would be insane. It was a ham-fisted effort, I will grant you. But I mean, without that, it's actually an okay movie. Because yeah, they do play on it a lot. They probably go a little overboard with it, to be honest. They were like trying to make the kid important or something.
Right.
It's like, he's just a kid. Maybe we don't need a kid being in control of this.
Yeah. I agree.
But yeah, lots of fun CGI in the first one. Lots of fun action, adventure, shooting things, having it not matter in the long run that they shot things. Terrible things happening to people who were kind of dicks to start with, so, you know.
Right.
I mean, they were on our side, but they were still dicks. Yeah, the way they played the curse thing out was a fun exercise in CGI. I will grant them that. And also kind of icky at times.
Hey, Benny, looks like you're on the wrong side of the river.
And then when Benny first meets Imhotep and starts pulling out all the holy symbols.
Oh, God, yes.
See, that's comedy right there. That's funny. It's a small piece. It's a small bit of comedy, but it's... And then later, Evie correcting Benny's translations.
Yeah.
Little things.
Yeah.
Little things that often get forgotten in sequels, unfortunately. Or just don't land as well.
Right.
Friggin' Hollywood and their sequels.
Yeah, but Fraser went on to do those Journey to the Center of the Earth movies. I think there were 2 of those, right?
Were they good? I never saw them.
I hadn't seen them either, yeah.
The first one was really good. Thought it was interesting, but once again, it is so laden with CGI that kind of movie almost makes me want to just give up on watching movies because all they do is CGI. And we can even discuss last week's movie.
I seem to recall we mentioned CGI last week, yeah.
It was so heavily laden there. There were only 2 scenes in the whole movie that were done with real people. So that's pretty sad.
Yeah.
This one was fun when I saw it at the theater. I tried watching it this past weekend on 2 occasions and fell asleep in them both. I went, what the hell? But it was just one of those things that did not keep me occupied, did not keep me awake. But like I said, when I first saw it, it wasn't bad. It's just one of those that I would not stand in line for to see a second time, even then. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's a popcorn movie. I mean, that's
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'm glad that that Pauly Shore was not in it.
I don't know. Pauly Shore as Benny might have worked.
No. Because, I'm sorry, it's just like Liz said, I can't take enough of that buddy stuff. Good Lord, that's god damn irritating as hell.
Oh.
Tell us how you really feel, Les.
Right.
Did you see him in that Army movie?
I
That's
hadn't seen.
god awful.
I
Yeah.
hadn't seen any of his stuff other than his appearances on MTV. That's about it. I was like, that's enough.
That was enough.
I've probably seen every Pauly Shore movie he's made.
And we're not surprised, are we?
Right.
Not particularly.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I don't have enough money to give back to you.
Don't offer to pay her. Don't reward her for watching those. Come on, man.
Really?
Oh, I thought she was suffering.
No, I liked it.
Now I know you were suffering.
So much for the therapy bills ending anytime soon, huh?
Yeah, I will agree with you for your statement earlier about people went on to do stuff. Vosloo definitely did. Odin Fair went on to do several things. Rachel Weisz had already established herself. And it's essentially Fraser's first delving into action movies.
Yep.
And I won't hold that against him.
Well, and John Hannah turned out to be pretty good, too.
Yeah, Hannah was very good. He was so muley that it really worked out.
Yep. We even saw Kevin O'Connor in other stuff where he wasn't such a weaselly schmuck.
Didn't he play? Wasn't he Igor in the Van Helsing film? Am I remembering that correctly? I've only seen that once.
That's... Yeah,
Which
he was.
Is...
He was. I've only seen it once, too, and I very much regretted it.
Yeah, I understand. I totally understand.
He had been in stuff for years before that. I mean, some surprisingly big name movies he was in. That's interesting. I mean, not huge roles in any of them, I don't think, but still.
Yeah.
Some pretty good career stuff here. But yeah.
Excuse me.
Gets me every time. If I had such a tiny sneeze, it would blow the back of my head clean off. No, still not tiny enough.
It's a church sneeze. Pew! It was, the preacher girls, you're to be seen, not heard. You sneeze during service and everyone look at you. Oh, Lord.
Oh, man, it's all over then. Jeez.
It is. You're going to hear about it on the way home.
Having to move to another state all of a sudden. Catastrophe.
Did you folks see this movie before? I mean, before we reviewed it?
The Mummy?
Yeah.
I saw it probably opening weekend.
No. I mean, prior to this discussion, did you?
Did I rewatch it?
Did
This week or anything? No, I did not. I haven't seen it in a couple of years. I have rewatched it before.
I rewatched it.
That's because Liz is a good little podcaster.
Mm.
Whereas I'm a fucking slacker.
You slacker. Yeah, I try to watch all the movies right before we... Like this one I watched today. That way it was fresh on your brain. Before they pull it out and mummify you.
Right out your nose.
See how I brought it around?
Can anybody tell me if scarabs are like that or not? Are they that vicious? Are they?
Oh, Lord, no.
They look like they would be, but I don't think they are.
Yeah, no, they don't move that fast, and they don't eat living human flesh or anything. They're not the piranhas of the desert or anything like they were in that movie.
Yeah. Aren't they like a kind of beetle, pretty much?
Yeah, they're beetles.
Yeah.
I don't think they're normally that big either, honestly.
My best friend's mom goes to Mexico all the time. I think like one of her best friends lives in Mexico. But they have beetles down there that they put like on little chains, and you can like pin it to your shirt or whatever. But they've been bedazzled and all kinds of things.
Live beetles.
Apparently, huh?
Live beetles?
Live ones, yeah. And apparently this is like a pretty big thing down there, So she goes to Mexico, comes back with one and everything else. And kid you not, it was like FBI or something like that, because she's a school teacher, shows up at school, asking her to see this and everything else.
I would have thought she'd gotten stopped by customs with that shit.
But see, when you're wearing it, it just looks like a little piece of jewelry, So
the legs
she didn't
start
think
moving.
to declare it because it's jewelry, So they had to like hang on to it because it wasn't necessarily that she didn't declare it in customs. It's because it was like an insect from another country, and that can like wreak havoc on our ecological system.
Yes, it can.
Especially if it's invasive, So they had to like keep it and like quarantine this little beetle and everything.
Had to make sure it wasn't pregnant.
Right. But no, I don't think they eat you, or they wouldn't be able to pin it on your shirt,
Right. Well, they can't pin it on my shirt anyway. I will fight them. But yeah, no. But if they were like the ones from the movie, shit. Yeah, those
Yeah.
things, it would take one, and then there would be 44 billion of them, and the next thing you know, they're nuking Cincinnati or something.
Right. And they look pretty vicious. They ran over that one guy and made him a skeleton,
They picked his ass clean.
Now imagine those bedazzled.
That would have been an entirely different movie. Hilarious, but an entirely different movie. I don't know. I don't think I'm
I mean,
prepared
who
to
knew?
bedazzle anything that's looking to eat my finger anyway.
Right? Yeah, like I said, I didn't know that was like a thing. And you just have to know her because she's like the sweetest lady ever. The kind of person that would do anything she could for a stranger. She's like those kind of people.
The kind of person who would pin a live animal on her own clothing.
Yep.
Well, then you think about the FBI showing up at school.
That is awesome, yes.
Oh, wow.
Just the facts, ma'am. Just the facts.
Yeah. Face down on the ground and give us the beetle.
Which one, George or Ringo?
Ringo, we heard he was bedazzled.
Oh, my sweet Lord.
Oh, I see what you did there.
But I think those beetles weren't as bad as the ones that were on the wall that actually went inside you. That was kind of, yeah. That is one part of the movie I was like, nope.
You and me
Fast forward.
both. You and me both. You can't fast forward that shit where it's on a big screen in 1999. I'm just saying.
Right. Make you squirm a little.
On the big
Rubbing
screen.
your nose when you go home.
On the big screen, those oversized beetles are the size of your friggin' head.
Ooh.
Like, nope.
Nope. Yeah. And he
Put in a-
stabbed that one.
Put in the shotgun shells in the movie for those things.
I'd be cut the arm off. I don't care. Get it out of me.
I have a question for you.
They'd already done that in Evil Dead, but anyway. Yes, Les.
In one of the fight scenes, Rick was fighting the skeletons of the priests or something.
Mm-hmm.
And he was fighting them, and he would kick them in the nads, and the things would respond like they got kicked in the nads. How?
Old habit.
Well, they just take their eyeballs, not the other ones.
Very old habit is that.
Wow. That was good. And quick, too. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
If we were actually going to try to use physics to explain it, I mean, I'd probably throw out some bullshit about it just threw them off balance or something. I don't know.
Or like phantom pains or something.
Yeah, that's what you do when you get kicked in the nuts, even if you've been dead and had no flesh on you for 5,000 years. I don't know. I don't know what happens when you kick a CGI skeleton in the nads.
He turns to
Because
dust.
Jason could have done it so many years before.
Jason never had a shotgun. I say that. I have not seen every Jason movie, so he could have had a shotgun at some point. I wouldn't know, but...
No, I'm talking about in the Argonauts.
Okay.
Oh,
see, my
that
mind
Jason.
went to where yours did.
I totally went to Friday the 13th, and I was like, wouldn't he use the machete? I mean...
Oh, and I'm trying to think, has anybody ever kicked Jason in the nuts?
Oh, yeah. I'm almost certain it happened in Jason X.
Huh.
Almost certain.
Did he respond, or?
Not happily, no.
Yeah.
He seemed annoyed. It didn't. Hard to tell. He's wearing a mask, you know.
Right.
He was going to kill the fucker anyway, so
Yeah.
whether that was a factor or not, who knows?
Made his mind up for him there.
You know, I was thinking of letting you off, but now no.
All right, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Do you recommend the film?
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, hell yeah, too.
Yep. I would.
It's good nap time.
Oh, man. That's great.
All righty, on that note, we're going to take a quick break and be back with Geek News for You. And we're back. It's time for Geek News for You. In this segment, we bring a couple news items to the table for discussion. This week, it is Les and myself. And Les, would you go first, please, sir?
Thank you, sir. I've got a couple things. First is the idea that since we were talking a Universal movie, the toy company for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is now going to offer a 4-pack of Turtles figures, all based upon Universal monster movies. Yeah, one is Frankenstein, one is the Mummy, third is the Invisible Man, and fourth is Creature from the Black Lagoon. They're kind of pricey. They're like $150, I think.
Damn, that's not kind of pricey, man.
It's big time pricey, I know.
Nuts.
It's not too bad if you think about it as in for individual. And it looks like they come with a lot of accessories and stuff too.
Yeah. But you can only use 2 hands or 2 feet or whatever.
Yeah. But they give you options to where they make them posable and stuff too, though.
Okay.
That's pretty cool.
And the second one I got from Bleeding Cool also. I did for Liz.
Yay.
And that is that Jensen Ackles will be doing a new series called Countdown. And this is through Amazon MGM. So it could be appearing on Prime, like several other series have done, such as Reacher. So we may have the possibility of seeing that this coming year.
Yeah. He's pretty busy. I was kind of worried about him getting everything done that he signed for, but it looks like everybody's kind of moved things around and has made it work for him, so yay.
Do we know what this countdown is about?
It's a murder mystery.
Okay.
He's like a detective kind of guy. But one other thing they just released is the other co-star in this with him. If you're a fan of Grey's Anatomy, there used to be a doctor on there, Mark Sloan, and he died like horrible, horrible death. You know, you piss Shonda off and you're out of there. Well, he's actually going to be on this show with Jensen. So, yay. Keep him away from planes.
Did he die in a plane crash on Grey's Anatomy?
Mm-hmm.
Ah.
And it was sad because there was like 9 people on this, and like 2 people wound up dying. Well, he was the third. But like the whole time he's sitting there trying to like comfort someone and everything and help them get everything together. And then at the very end, they they found out he had been hurt and was sitting there dying the whole time. So it was like one of those gut puncher deaths, Was not expecting that. Especially big star. He was, yeah. So yeah, it's pretty cool he's going to be on there. And I also heard that he just finished doing all the scenes for season 2 of Tracker. So. Busy guy.
I understand his co-star of his previous series has got some work lined up too. So.
Yeah.
Jared.
Yeah. He's got a couple of episodes on one show, like Fire Country or something like that. I kind of lost touch with him when he did the whole Walker thing, which is crazy because I love watching Walker Texas Ranger. I mean, you walk in my house on the weekends and that's what's playing. Just because it's on Heroes and Icons. But yeah, I didn't like him in that role at all.
Weird.
It is weird.
I would have thought he could have read the phone book and you'd have been all over it.
Yeah, I've always been a bigger Jensen fan, though.
No shit.
Yeah.
Really? I'm surprised.
Who'd have thunk it?
Out of the two.
Newsflash, people.
Yeah. Well, and even before Supernatural, I was a fan of his because he was in my soap opera. He was in Smallville. There's quite a few different things that he had did that I had watched. So Supernatural was kind of like, oh, well, now let's see what he's doing over here,
That he graduated from Richardson High, yeah.
Uh-huh. That's what I'm saying. This close, it's destined. I'm going to meet him. It'll be at a supermarket or so. One day I will meet Jensen Ackles.
Yeah, we'll get bail money together. It's fine.
Yeah, as I say, get your bail money together.
I don't know who she is, officer. I'm sorry. I wish I could help you there.
I'm sad he was in Austin this weekend and I had no clue. None.
I'm sure he planned it that way.
Yeah. But normally I'm on top of those kind of things, but I haven't been online and stuff for a couple of weeks, so.
Steve, are you hearing all this?
If you are listening, Steve, she needs more red thread for her bulletin board.
Right. And if you bring me in, he has to identify me, so bring him in too.
I think they do that through one-way mirrors. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not that you won't
know.
Right. That close proximity, the Jensen sense can't
so
fail,
know.
right?
Yeah. Hopefully.
Okay. I have a rather sad yet crazy, intriguing, something we need to kind of watch, might be interested in watching how this comes out, news item. A man, Jeffrey Piccolo, has filed a $50,000 wrongful death lawsuit against Disney.
Yeah.
Have you heard about this?
I've heard about this one.
Okay. What happened was in October of last year, he and his wife, and wife was, let me get the name here real quick. Doctor, and I'm going to mispronounce this, so I apologize. Dr. Kanok Porn Tangsuan. We're at the Walt Disney World Resort, and they were actually at the pub. What was it? God, I just had all this. the Wrangling Irish Pub and Restaurant, and Raglan Road Irish Pub. And the reason why they were checking this particular place out was they had advertised that they have an allergen-free menu. So she asked on several times about what she was ordering, which according to this was broccoli and corn fritter, scallops, and onion rings. And was asking if it was allergen-free, which the server continually assured that yes, it was. She was allergic to dairy and nuts. So she went ahead and ate the meal. 45 minutes later, as they were out shopping, checking places out and all that, she started having issues breathing. 911 was called. She was rushed to the hospital where she died.
Anaphylactic shock.
Sad.
Yep. So in February, he decided to sue the pub and Disney. Now, is it just this week, or am I just hearing about it this past week? Disney lawyers have issued a motion to dismiss this lawsuit, and the reasons that are cited is, well, actually for a couple reasons. One seems to be in all the news items, because I've looked at like 4 or 5 different articles about this suit. At one point in the past, he had signed up for a monthly trial, monthly trial for Disney Plus. And in the terms of service, the thing that none of us read, but we said we click on it and said, yeah, we read it, we understand. It says any disputes with the company would be handled by arbitration.
Yeah.
I don't remember that there probably wasn't a terms of service for eating at the restaurant.
Well, there's not, but
So that's irrelevant.
But it's owned by Disney, though.
No, the pub is not owned by Disney.
I thought it was inside their park, because they also said that he also agreed to terms of service when he bought his ticket
to get
in the park.
Yes, but Disney is the landlord of the pub, but they do not own the pub.
Yeah. Okay. So that's where my confusion came in, because I thought it was like in the park.
Well, I mean, it's in the park, but I mean, it's just like Simon. Simon doesn't own all the businesses out there at the mall. They're the landlord. It's the same thing.
Disney's a little different, though, because you can't just go to that restaurant. You have to actually buy a ticket to get into the park. Then you can go to the restaurant. But if you just wanted to eat and not go to the park, you couldn't do that. You'd have to actually buy a ticket to get into the park to get to that restaurant.
Which still doesn't mean that they own the restaurant.
Right.
Well, then why are they suing Disney then?
Deep pockets and publicity.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Because they're more likely to get something out of the deal. That's
right.
He was hoping for
a payday.
For
and I'm
settlement.
sorry the guy lost his wife. I truly am. What a horrible way for somebody to die. But she had a dairy and a nut allergy, right?
Right.
So she got 2 things that were breaded. 2, the fritter and the onion rings. Now, there's not unless you use like water, which I don't know if you get your breading to stick. The only way you can make breading is dairy. So it's kind of like double whammy here, because, if you have this kind of allergy, those are kind of things that you would stay away from, even if they tell you, oh, no, it's allergy free. But several times they asked.
Yes.
So that's kind of the drawback there, is they asked. Now, I thought it was a stretch to go after the terms of service on his Disney Plus, because If Phil signed up for a free trial service, what he's bound under, he doesn't speak for me.
Right.
I'm not bound by that.
Well,
and when the guy
that's what the
canceled,
lawyer. Yeah. Yeah.
when he
That's what the lawyer
canceled his
said.
plan, would that not cancel the contract then?
Well, the other thing, and that's why because I was like, that doesn't make any sense. That's why I did a lot of other checking. Apparently, he bought the tickets online.
Yeah.
So if he bought the tickets online, it's the same terms of service.
It is. Yep. And just
So
the
that's
same,
where they can that's where they can say, hey, look, I
yeah,
mean,
that's
the whole
what
thing with
they
the Disney
should have
Plus.
went with.
Yeah, I agree.
Just the ticket. You
And I'm
bought
not
the
sure,
ticket.
I'm not sure why they did that instead of saying, well, he bought tickets on Epcot Center's website, and
Yeah.
this is and this is what we say that you agree to by checking that mark and then completing the transaction.
Yep.
I don't understand the whole push on Disney Plus, and I'm just wondering if there's something lost here. I don't know.
I think it's to kind of prove their point on both ends. You've agreed multiple times that you wouldn't sue us, that you would go through arbitration. Not only when you bought your tickets, if you didn't read it there, you also did it when you did it here, So I don't think this was their smoking gun, but more of, you've agreed to these terms of service more than once.
Yeah.
So one time, shame on you, you didn't read it, So
I mean,
twice,
that could be it, but it's just so weird because, like I said, I've read about 4 or 5 different articles about it, and it took the 4th or the 5th one for them to mention, oh, by the way, he bought tickets on the website.
Yeah.
The other ones don't mention. They just mention the whole Disney Plus thing. It's like you're
Yeah,
come,
reaching for straws there. Yeah,
you're really making it's almost a smear campaign.
I think the journalists and stuff kind of went crazy with that one because it's kind of outlandish. But
I agree. That was part of the reason why I picked this in the first place. But once I found out that he also bought tickets online, and hey, the terms and conditions on the Epcot Center's website is the same thing as for Disney Plus, and you go, well, okay.
Yeah. So I think they were trying to prove that it was more than once you agreed to this.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
So you should have read it one of those times,
Right.
Which, it's kind of crazy. And seeing a ticket, that's the one I would have went with, because the Disney Plus, like I said, he didn't speak for his wife. But when you buy tickets, each person has to have a ticket. So if you're letting someone else buy your ticket for you, you better know what they're agreeing for you. Because once you give it to that person to get into the park, you're agreeing to that by using that ticket. I mean, and it's not just Disney. If you go to a concert, if you ever read their terms of service, basically you can get trampled and killed as long as they have security there and took reasonable steps to protect you. There ain't nothing you can do. You agreed to it when you bought the ticket, So it's crazy. It's that fine print shit that gets you. And like I said, horrible way to lose a wife. Absolutely horrible. But
yeah,
not everything's a payday, Sometimes just bad shit happens.
See, and I would actually agree wholeheartedly with you in that regard, except I thought you said the lawsuit was for $50,000.
Yeah. That seems like a weird amount.
That's not exactly a payday. That's funeral expenses.
Yeah. Which I think even, and see, you got to kind of look at it from Disney's point of view. If we agree to pay for her funeral, even just to be compassionate and nice, we're admitting fault.
No, right.
And that
I
can
agree.
come back later.
I agree.
I
mean, the corporation is the monster in that regard. I'm not arguing with that at all. I agree that it's a bad precedent for them from a legal standpoint, for sure. But my thing is, it's hardly a paid. I mean,
right.
Should the restaurant be held accountable? Maybe, probably, certainly more so than Disney in this
Absolutely.
case.
Yeah. I think the people who serve her food, the people who made the food knowing she had a food allergy, are the ones they should be held responsible.
Well, and you're assuming that communication in a setting like that is any good at all, which is a stretch.
Yep. But if they're boasting that they're an allergen-free restaurant, blah 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 blah.
Right. Somebody who works there lied to her.
Yep.
Yeah.
Somebody who works there answered that question without actually knowing the answer.
Or checking.
And
Yep.
so they effectively lied to her, and that's bad for sure. There should be something there, but yeah. Also, yeah. If I had allergies like that, I probably would never eat out again.
Yeah. If I was Disney, I would let this play out in court. I would let the judge dismiss it, and then I would pay for the lady's funeral expenses. After they've cleared me and I know that I'm good, then I would pay the funeral expenses for her.
But you're not a corporation.
Yeah.
And while it is absolutely a drop in the bucket for Disney, you're assuming human feeling, and that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Not to say that nobody who works for Disney is not human. They have humans working there, and they are in positions of authority, but Disney is a corporation, and they don't feel it doesn't feel anything. But anyway.
Yep. That's what I would do, though.
Sure, that's what you would do if you had Disney money.
If I had Disney money, yep. But I'm sure this guy can set up a GoFundMe, and all the anti-Disney haters would definitely come along and pay him. So
sure,
I think that's what he should do.
By the way, if you have Disney money, you're bailing yourself out when you get busted dealing with Jensen.
Yep.
Just saying. You're on your own.
I was going to say, if I had Disney money, you might be willing to meet me.
Fair enough.
All right. Any special shout-outs or mentions this week?
Not me.
No.
Nothing here.
Okay. Les, were you going to say something else? Did I interrupt you there?
No.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Go on to regular shout-outs. I want to thank Pop Goes the Culture for allowing us to be part of a great network of fellow podcasts. Definitely check them out. There will be a link in the show notes. We also want you to check out the fine men and women who spread the word of the fellowship on Twitter/X by reposting our links. And that is Podern Family. The best way to check them out is to do a search, #Podern Family as one word. Scroll through whatever catches your eye. Click on that link and download an episode. Thank you guys as always. Want to thank Manny the Martyr for supplying the music to the podcast. If you check our show notes, there will be a link where you can check out some of their other music. Excuse me. And finally, you, dear listener, thank you for downloading and listening to today's episode. We value your feedback. The best way to contact us, our email address is email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. Or you can go to the website, go to the About Us page, and there's a contact form that you can fill out there. We do have a Discord that you're free to join. We do have an open invitation on the homepage. We post a lot of news items, stuff for discussion, stuff to laugh at. We'll do some activities on there as well. We do have a particular feedback channel, so feel free to put your thoughts there. Social media, we're on Facebook, The Fellowship of the Geeks. On Instagram and Twitter, we're @Fellowship Geeks. If you'd like to follow our personal Twitter accounts, Mike can be found @MikeyGeek. Liz can be found @LN_geek. Les may or may not be found @FakeLesWebster. And I could be found @TomTCGeek. and from wherever you download our episodes. If you'd be so kind as to rate and review the show, it would be greatly appreciated. Anything else before we say goodbye?
Just thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, and please watch the movies we've discussed tonight.
Thank you for listening, everybody. We appreciate the support as always. Until next time, geek on, my friends.
We thank you for listening to the show. Comments, suggestions, and questions can be sent to email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. You can follow us on Facebook at The Fellowship of the Geeks and on Twitter at Fellowship Geeks. Until next time,